them to be trained. Then at training, because human brain can be conditioned, they're conditioned differently, and then they live there differently. And that's what I'm saying, that the training, if it is wrong, then everything else goes wrong. And perhaps what I've said also, and people could take it lightly, but we are spirits existing in human flesh. And there's some places that you go to, and you find yourself changing. And I've said, there is an urgent need of not just blood transfusion, because some blood transfusions also don't go well. Some blood transfusion lead to death. And we don't want to lead to the death of this police service.
Right.
What we need to do is to phase out the transformation of the police into the software of it.
Okay.
By phasing it from phase 1 to phase 6.
Because if you can learn something, then you can unlearn others. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can unlearn. Because human beings are trained, and so they can be retrained.
Okay.
And the first point is to, first of all, impute value to the police. All policemen, we must impute value to them. The best way of introducing a new behavior is not just by deterring. It's also by imputing value and telling them, you know what, this is a respectable career. Like, for example, today if you go to America and you find yourself without a job, the place where you'd want to work urgently would be the military. Why? Because 4 complete years of service and retiring in dignity without being fired earns you the front row bench in any hiring. If you look at all recruitment pages in America, they will ask, are you a veteran? Because veterans are given first priority. So can we dignify the police service? First of all, just dignifying it. And how do you dignify it? By changing the perception of the police in the public, by telling them who they truly are and what they truly do. I remember when I was very young, I could flag down a police car and hike a lift. Yes, I could. In a school uniform, I could flag down a police car and hike a lift. I remember there were those Land Rovers, and they will ask, unaenda wapi? And they will take me.
It's sama tu Mariamu.
Wachana Mariamu. Mariamu nile kubwa. This is in Kisumu, actually. So there's a time where people look at the police as, like right now, you saw when we were having the demonstration, and then the parliament, I don't know, through whatever, they deployed those jeshis in the street. You saw people welcoming the who? The military. Instead of running away from them, they went to them. But they were running away from the what? The police. So there's that perception that has to change. Because you see, for the military, it is expected that the military will never ever beat a what? A common man. Will never. They're there to protect the country. So can the police first relook at themselves and wonder, are we going to do a change? Number 2, in this question of phasing out changes, of course, there are those ones who are retiring. That is the beauty of this thing. Let them retire. In fact, you should even introduce early retirement for police. Once you've served 10 years, you should be able to go. You should be able to. The government should be able to bind you for 10 years after service because they've trained you with some money, or 5 years, so that at least they recover. Then you're free to go after 10 years. In fact, you're always free to go anyway. You can resign. You're allowed to resign. But we should put it as an incentive for the older guys to retire early, because there are the problems there. These old people are the problem. And they know it. What I'm saying, they know. Because their institutionalization was off. It was colonial. Now, when these younger ones, for example, Gen Z officers, when they arrest you, they even story with you so nicely. Me, I've been arrested once by a Gen Z officer. They storied with me. They never cuffed me. We storied all the way. It'll go up somewhere next to industrial area. We storied to the police station. Then we sat there and we talked about, and I didn't give a bribe, but I only told her, you know what, I'm so sorry. I didn't see when I was driving, of course. Told me, don't do this again. But the older ones would want a bribe. You see, they would want a bribe. So let's face out the changes in the police and face it out in this fashion. 1, let's borrow a leaf from KMTC. Because KMTC is also protecting people's health by training of nurses and clinical officers, laboratory specialists, etc. Police are also meant to protect people's lives. So 1, let's give more funds to the police, a lot of it. And that a lot of funds should go specially to the devolving of the training centers. And then 2, this affordable housing program, can it first prioritize police officers? police officers are living in tin houses. It is not fair. Not all of them, of course. For example, I've been Kakamega. Kakamega is doing quite fair from Kitambo in terms of the police buildings. Can we have this issue of the police living amongst the people is very off for me. It's very off. Well, it should be liberal that if you want to live amongst the people, you should be able to live amongst the people. But do you have a basic provision at the base camp that you're given proper housing? Because dignity, my dear, starts from where you live. Are you having a proper house? Are you having a proper toilet? It could be as little as that is offending somebody. Go see Denise Aseto. I know Denise Aseto, when he lives here, he'll go and, in some nice hotel in town. But me, I'll go back to Kibera. We are not the same. There's something about it. And I would want to show you, Denise, that, I'm more powerful with that small thing on my waist. So once